I have worked every day since we got back from Christmas. Every single day. Or I should say since we got back from New Year's. Oh! I just washed my face in private. No, girls, get. Look at Piper trying to get in. Oh, I'm exhausted. I'm starting to get to exhaustion. I'm using e.l.f. primer water. It's actually really good. And this looks so bad. Look, this is like so yucky looking. I'm almost out of it. My Sermage. But I still believe in it. Oh my God, I don't know. I have meetings all day today, I think. I talked to Tim last night. His kitty got hurt. His kitty like jumped up. Okay, so he moved into his new house. Beautiful new house, okay? I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen all these pictures. Amazing house. Okay, so, and he has a bunch of cats. His girlfriend's a kitty rescuer. And so they have, I don't know how many, 8 maybe now? And it just varies depending on, if any of them are getting, whatever, fostered or whatever happens. Look, my hair is growing back and it's curly right here. The little curly cue's coming out and it makes everything stick up weird. Look, here's another one. Weird body. Anyway, so Tim calls me last night and says that his cat, something upstairs in the new house went like boom, and then this is the newest kitten that he loves. This kitten was made for Tim, and he runs downstairs. Taz, they call him, because he's like a devil, but he's really funny and has a big personality. Well, he runs downstairs and jumps in the couch they're sitting in and like buries himself in the pillows. And Tim pulls him out and he's bleeding from the mouth and the nose. And he's hurt. Like, he's obviously not okay. So Tim jumps in the car and takes him to the ER. And I have no idea what happened because I texted him like later. And this was late anyway. But I texted him and said, what is going on? I want to know what they were doing for the cat, and he never called me back, so I have no idea what happened with the kitty. But I really like this cat. Like, I'm not a cat person. I know. Everybody's going to give me shit. How do you not like cats? Because I was attacked by a cat. You want another story time? All right. Cat attack. So, Jeff was a cat person, and he had 3 cats when I first met him. And the one cat was like the best cat. Like, I love this one cat. He used to go on walks with me like a dog. And if I went too far up the road, he would get mad at me and stand. He had this moment where he wouldn't leave past like this far. His name was 9 Inch Nails. It was the 90s. And so we called him Nin. And he was like the coolest cat ever. Like, he was like a dog cat. So anyway, so little by little, Kato, the female cat, and Scannies, they both died out. And we're down to just Nin. And was it before? No, and we had the Dachshunds. Jeff's ex-girlfriend had Dachshunds. Dachshunds are tough to deal with. They don't like to be house trained and stuff like that. And I would never get a hound. Like, I love dogs. And I've had a lot of dogs in my life. And the one thing about dogs is take a lesson from what they are. If you want a dog that barks a lot, sounds, it's called sounding. You want a dog that barks and puts their nose to the ground and runs away all the time, doesn't necessarily look to you for what it needs to do, go ahead and get you a hound. Because hounds were born and bred to sniff the ground or the air and go after the prey. They don't, they weren't born and bred to look at you. That's a companion dog, was born and bred to look for your cues and to make you comfortable. So if you want a little dog, you want to get like a companion dog if you want that one that's going to curl up with you and whatnot. Dachshunds are going to run away. Like, not from you, just because they smell something and... Okay, so anyway, we had this dachshund. And his name, I loved his name was Geppetto. And so we had Jeppy and we didn't have Mabel yet. And so it was like right before Mabel. So I had been talking about getting Mabel for a really long time. I wanted a little white fluffy Pekingese. I always wanted a Pekingese. And Jeff was like, we have a dog. But he had a dog. I didn't have Geppetto. Although we bought Geppetto together. We bought Geppetto to breed with his female Bopey because I used to breed Chow Chows, which just turned into a mess because fucking those dogs don't like to be house trained. Like, they will get pissy and just decide I'm gonna piss on the couch or the bed or whatever. And yeah, so wasn't my kind of dog. Mabel was house trained in 2 days. That's my kind of dog. And same with my dogs. Like, they're house trained. Like, they look for me for their cue, where hounds don't. You need one of those doors. If they can go outside, they're fine. So anyway, so Jeff wanted Bay Boat Works. I told you about Bay Boat Works in the last video. Bay Boat Works, people used to drop cats off to all the time because they were like this big shipyard, and the woman there would feed them. So people kind of knew about it and took advantage. It wasn't very nice, but that's what happened. So anyway, they were friends with Jeff and I, and so they knew that Jeff was looking to replace some of the kitties that he had lost. So at any rate, they called up to the house one day and said, listen, we have this litter of kittens and the mama cat we want you to come see. And behind my back while I was at work, he went and saw them. And he didn't want the kittens, he wanted the mama cat. So I was fine with the kitten, get a kitten. But I was kind of leery of the mama cat, who was a little bit feral-ish, But I said no. I was like, I wouldn't mind a kitten, but a cat, like, that we don't know. And anyway, I thought about it later, and I was like, I want Mabel, I didn't know her name was Mabel yet. I want my little white Pekingese. And who am I to say no to him? Like, it's his house. If he wants, we weren't big on, like, you do what I say. I think that ruins shit. So I was like, fuck it. So I went down to I went to Bay Boat Works and told them, I'm going to surprise Jeff with this mama cat when the kittens were gone. So we waited for that, and I stopped by and picked up this cat this fateful morning and in a carrier and brought her to the house. And I opened the door, and he's like, what are you doing home? Because I was supposed to be at work. And I said, I'm surprising you or something. And I walked in, and he had been calling her Peaches. So I said, I brought you Peaches. And he was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Right? So we let Peaches out to roam the house. Maybe that was our first mistake. I don't really know. But we let her out, and she roamed the house. But when Geppetto would be around, she would stop and, like, stare at him. And I was like, I'm not a big cat person. Like, I've had cats, but they were mostly, like, barn cats back in Conowingo. Like, I didn't really have a lot of cats that were like, oh, I studied their behavior. I really didn't. So, at any rate, the dining room in Jeff's house was this long, narrow room that looked out to the water. And it was so long and narrow that the first half of it, there was a dining table and a, like chandelier type thing over it, and like the dining area. And then there was a treadmill at the end. It was like two separate rooms almost, but they were one. There's a treadmill that looked right out over the water, and a couch, a lazy boy couch that sat on the side, and a TV in the middle. So the lazy boy sits this way, the treadmill's this way, and there's literally only about that room in between. It was very narrow and long. And the cat's in the corner of the room. Corner of the room. Treadmill. Right? I lean down to sit on the end of the treadmill underneath the arms. Do you know what I mean? The arms are here. The arms are above me, and the display is directly above me. I'm sitting on the edge like this, petting this cat who's loving it. She's like, you know. So I was like, Jeff walks into the room and sits on the couch. So now my face, I'm sitting down almost on the floor on the edge of the treadmill, right? And his knees are like here, like that far away from me, here, eye level. And I'm petting her, you know. I'm like, well, maybe everything will be okay. Like, she seems like a really good cat. And Geppetto walks into the room, turns, goes over to Jeff, and jumps up on the couch. We're here, cat here, I'm here, couch, knees here. Geppetto jumps on the couch, and the cat goes, and I went, oh, like, what the hell was that? It's like something shut off. The cat, and I was like, I felt it. You felt it in the room. Like, I knew something bad was about to happen, but I didn't know what. The cat leaps over my head and onto Geppetto, sitting next to Jeff on the couch, and goes insane. Biting, scratching. Geppetto starts screaming because he's had cats his whole life, but he's never had a cat mean. Like, the cats have always been really nice to him. So he's like, ah! So Jeff, sitting face, I'm on the floor. This happens like this. Jeff is fit, like his knees are here. I look at Jeff. Jeff scoops Geppetto up, the dog up, and in doing so, with his elbow, knocks the cat onto the floor in front of my face. And this cat has done lost its mind. So I have to get underneath the handles to the treadmill because I'm on my knees basically. So I'm like, so I go underneath and I turn to run because this cat's gonna get me. I know it. It looked at me like, and I was like, oh. So I just like ducked and went to run, and it got my leg, and it starts to bite me and climb my leg, ripping out veins, ripping, like destroying me. Jeff sees this. He's got the dog. This is all happening like this. I want you to understand. People said to me, why didn't you grab the cat? You couldn't grab that cat. This was like, boom, like the cat was on the floor. It was on my leg. Bite, bite, bite. Jeff grabs it by its skin and pulls it off my one leg, and the cat turns around, starts attacking him. He lets go. The cat literally in air jumps to my other leg as I'm still trying to take 2 steps out of the way. It now is it's up like near my ass basically, and in between my legs, biting my inner thigh, puncturing veins and shit as it goes. Blood is everywhere. It attacks Jeff again on his knees. And finally, Jeff rips it off my leg and throws it. And the cat like lands like this and then looks up to jump again. And there was a blanket, like a throw blanket on the back of the couch. And I grabbed it and threw it over the cat's face and leaped out of the way and ran into the living room. And I was like, my adrenaline was like, woo, it was like, so Jeff screams, oh my God, you're bleeding, honey, you're bleeding. And I'm bleeding I'm bleeding. And I'm just standing in the living room like this. And the cat literally like walks out and sits down and looks at me like, hey, what's going on? I was like, run out the back door. Now our other cat, Ninskers, was outside while this happened. We hadn't introduced him yet. And he came over to me and like sat with me. Blood, I was sitting on the stone step outside. Blood is pooling out of holes all over my legs. My ankle veins are like ripped apart. It's just pouring. It's doing the Jeff runs outside with Geppetto. And he's like, oh my God. And he runs back in and grabs the phone, runs back outside because the cat's still in there. But she's fine now. It's like some explosion went and she's fine. By the way, his son took one of her kittens and although they lived happily with him for years, he was the meanest cat. Like, you couldn't touch him or anything. He would attack people like psycho. But anyway, and there was no rushing me to a hospital at this point. We needed an ambulance. I was losing too much blood. I will show you my ankle right here. All right, those are the scars. They had to cauterize my leg with these little BBs they put in there that burn, that stop all the veins. You have so many veins right by your ankle. So I won't show you the ones that run up my leg because they're too near my lady bits. That is where they had to cauterize my ankle because you can't close cat wounds. I had cuts all up and down my legs that had to remain open because of the mass amount of bacteria in a cat's mouth. If you close it, it will get a huge infection. I was on IV antibiotics and then regular antibiotics forever. And yeah, I was taken out in an ambulance by a cat. It was like the Tasmanian devil, like, boom, it was over. And I was just, Jeff was bleeding too. We had to quarantine the cat because we didn't have her prior, so we didn't know if she had like rabies or anything like that. So they quarantined the cat at Bay Boat Works, where I think she stayed the rest of her life. But yeah, I would have killed the cat at that point, but nobody else wanted to. But at any rate, that's why I'm not a cat person. But this cat of Tim's is not a cat. It's like a dog cat. It's like Ninskers was. Because after that, we still lived with Ninskers, and I loved Nin. Like, I trusted him with my soul. He was just such a good cat. And this cat's like that. Like, you can tell he's just funny, and he wants you to laugh. Like, your laughter sparks him up, and he's just a really cool cat. I don't know what happened to him. I am waiting to see if I get a phone call this morning saying the meetings are off because Tim was in the ER with the cat all night. But this happened relatively late. So I can't imagine him not have taken quite some time. I mean, he couldn't have gotten home earlier than at least like 1 or 2. I would imagine that would be the earliest if the cat was fine and everything. So I have no idea what's happened. I don't know how the cat is. I'm waiting to see. But God, if he would just call me and say, you know what, like, I'm staying home today, we don't have meetings, I would take the day off and rest because I am fucking tired, guys. And that's where this whole thing came from. But I am so beat up. Anyway, I've got to go pick up Fred, which wouldn't be fair to him because I already said I would. But God, today's going to be a rough one for me. I guess I'll get some gumption going when I get up in a little while and, like, start moving around. I did work out. I got up this morning and worked out for, just 20 minutes. But sometimes I like to get my blood going because when I'm really super tired, exercise sometimes kicks me out of that. And sometimes it makes it worse. It just depends. But I haven't eaten anything. I've been going to get the shakes at, what's that called? The protein shakes from, can't remember. Oh my God. You probably know it. But the places where you can go get the protein shakes. Anyway, can't think, my brain is like addle-minded. I'm old. Just me. Yeah, so I've been doing that because I've been getting Tamara one because her since she had her stomach operation, what's that called, psoriasis, like her and I both have psoriasis. Hers has gotten to a fever pitch, and I made her make a doctor appointment yesterday because she has got it in her scalp so bad, and I know what that's like, man. That is the awful feeling. So and I think it's because she had that stomach staple thing, and it makes you not be able to absorb all your nutrition, and I think that's what's going on. I think she needs to absorb more, but that's Dr. Fetal Futz, I don't know. Anyway, I love you guys. Another story time. Isn't that funny? You got 2 this week. Yay! Bye!